No, today is the day that families up and down the country have been absolutely dreading. I mean, it's front page of all the papers, isn't it? April Cruel Day. All of these headlines reflecting the same painful fact, which is that most household bills are going up, including the dreaded rise on the energy cap. Now, over the years, we've discussed, haven't we, the so-called thermostat wars, but with the energy crisis dominating all of our conversations, we actually did a poll asking, is the cost of living crisis causing arguments in your home? And almost a quarter of you said yes. Judy, has it suddenly brought it all home to you?
Do you know what? You know, let's be real. When us was together this morning having a conversation, I was really emotional because I just remember that anxiety that I used to have and that worry, constant worry of trying to catch up. And I just keep thinking about people who are in this predicament now. How are they going to cope? Like, what their outlook is just constantly living in panic and anxiety. And, you know, I have this conversation with my kids. You know, I want them to understand that what we have is what we've worked hard for. And through this moment, at the moment, with everything what's happening, you know, I've sat down with my kids and I can feel slight projection of turn off the light, do this, do that. But I really had to sit down and have a conversation about the effects that this is going to have on other family members and how we can, you know, save when it comes to gas, save when it comes to just using things and not really thinking about the long-term effect that it has.
It's a difficult thing, isn't it? I mean, you've worked so hard to make sure your kids don't have to worry about that. We all like to think, I don't want my kids to worry about this, because that's a natural, you know, instinct as a parent, isn't it? But do we have to make them aware? I mean, they don't live in La La Land. And I mean, I know, funny enough, my two kids are different. One watches every single penny. It's just the way she is. The other one is la, 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 la. The lights are constantly on. Everything is constantly on. And I'm constantly following her because I'm my dad's daughter. You know, black illuminations, get that light off, etc. And it's a difficult balance to strike, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I come after you saying put the blooming lights off. You're terrible.
I'm terrible, but you know, I wasn't brought up like that. My mum was just so stern about lights and if you said you were cold, she would just look at you like you're completely mad and ask why you hadn't put another jumper on. You know, that was my childhood all the time. And this really has made me think that because we are comfortable, Mark and I are comfortable, I don't think we've made our kids aware enough. Because, you know, like you say, they're going to have to go out into the world. And so, but Mark's recently got one of these meters. These electric meters. So, like,
smart
every time...
meters.
Like, I've constantly got... Is the dryer on? Yes. But it does really make you think. Because you see that dial go around like crazy. And, yeah, I think I've been too profligate. I'm going to really, like, think a lot more because it's also incredibly good for the planet. But also, these bills are crazy. And I'm really going to have that conversation with my kids, actually.
Yeah. It's funny what you were saying, Jude, about... Because obviously the situation you were describing now, you were the adult, waiting for these next bills. And a lot of what you were saying resonated with me because when I grew up, it was just me and my mum, and we didn't. I now realise we had no money at all. But I wasn't really aware of it when I was a kid because you're not the one getting the bills.
Yeah,
and we didn't
have your life.
We didn't have central heating. That was just we just didn't have it. And for me, it's like. Now, there are so many bills out of left field that we didn't have when I was young, if that makes sense. So, you know, a lot of things like, I don't know, we didn't have a phone, so we didn't have the phone bill. I don't particularly... What did we used to pay? Rates, was it?
Rather than no council tax.
It was called rates and stuff, which was a lot lower than relatively than I think it is now.
And the cost of food now is
all of those things. Food is off the scale. Everything's creeping up. And
people have organised their lives in such and such a way. Yeah, people have TV subscriptions. Of course they have TV subscriptions because that's the way our lives are now. Of course you have internet. Of course you have all that. Because that is modern life.
And it's all crept up, and every bit of it.
Well, energy bills, it's 54%.
I know.
54%. And, you know, of course, people's income hasn't gone up.
I was thinking, like, you know, when they've sort of tried to tackle the obesity crisis by putting calories on everything. So, you know, if you look, you can usually see the calorie of what you're either buying, and some restaurants do it. And I was thinking, I wonder how actually much it costs to, you know, if we actually knew how much it costs to have. So, for example, an electric shower an hour is £1.66. an hour.
You have it on for an hour?
Yeah, so I mean,
Okay.
if there's two of you and you have half-hour shower each, that would cost you £1.60. Washing machine is only 13 pence a wash.
Oh,
okay.
I thought that was a bit lower, but a cup of tea, so having cups of tea, the amount that we have in a day, accounts for 6% of total household expenditure.
Wow.
It's interesting. It's how you get those figures out to people, though, because if you're talking about 13 pence, I mean, 13 pence sounds nothing, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but you've got to
what
think
adds
about
up.
people's annual bills. How often have you got the washing machine on? How often are you boiling a kettle? So it's presenting it in such a... Well, the thing is, people are going to know full well that their energy bills are going up because this rise is just unprecedented, isn't it?
And also, it's the standing charges. So if you actually did what that guy from that energy company said recently, and you put 48 layers on and put a jumper and do star jumps, and you switch your heating off completely, you still get charged.
Yeah.
You still get charged. It's a standing charge that you pay.
A real cycle, because you were saying, you know, you turn the heating off, you want to have a cup of tea to keep you warm. That's the first thing you do, isn't it? And then you're saying that it's 80p a cup.
Eat some more.
What do you say to your kids now?
Do you know what? I just say to them, look, you know, Mummy's worked hard and collectively as a team, we work hard. As a family, we work hard together and not to take anything for granted. I don't want them to have the same anxiety of constantly feeling like you have to do more because you're so fearful of how it used to be. But I really try to let them understand the value of money over the value of you having your integrity and being caring and thinking about other people in different situations.
I think it's a lot harder.
It is.
Because they're not using cash as much.
Exactly.
So, you know, like when you've got a 20 quid note and you only get £5 back, you go, oh, I've just spent £15.
This is
Whereas
so dangerous,
You
isn't
do
it?
that now.
Yeah.
You just go,
Tap,
oh, yeah, oh, hi, Jude, yeah. And not really looking at...
With the food waste, you know what I try to do? I won't shop until, I mean, that fridge has got to look completely bare.
Yeah.
And because you know the kids, they'll be like, oh, Mum, there's no food in the house. And you open it, you're like, there's tins of this, there's tins of that, there's bread. You can make something.
Yeah.
So it's just showing them, just being aware of when things are slightly getting out of hand or when they have no conscious understanding about money. And I think that's what's really important, teaching them that from the ground.